This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today is Thursday, January 21st, and as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only, and nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So we got a bunch of cheapies out there today, so things are looking pretty good. Let's start off with CLSN. The reason I have it up is because it, not for nothing, but was a really nice trade pulling underneath that too, and then coming back towards that upside. But it's just been getting, more and more strength. I mean, the volume's actually been waxing pretty much since almost 8:30. So the biggest thing is we just came up to that 250 and we got beautiful buying right here. I mean, it's just, we're pretty much completely clear. Now, we got a little bit of selling that came in right afterwards. We do need to pull back. 250, remember, is going to be a psychological level, especially for a cheaper stock. So we don't really need a crazy pullback, but we do need, to come back at least back down to where our building is and then look for that trigger back towards that upside. We are getting beautiful buying that's coming over off level from that 250, but it still needs to come back, and it's been following the rules fairly well coming into this morning. Next thing, Gene, G-E-N-E. So been building pretty much all morning. So we got that little run that came back up, but the one thing that I always love to see is it hold, and it's really been holding in that consolidation very, very well. You can see over here, if you look at the 15-minute, it is extremely consolidated, but it's in an extremely bullish looking flag. Now, the thing about a bullish flag is it doesn't mean anything without the substance. But we've been getting prints at 8 and more than that, and it's not going to let me go all the back. I've been loving the prints, off-level prints that I've been seeing coming into this above that 8 level, 807, 804, 811. I mean, we've just been seeing really, really nice buying coming up. So really showing us that there's people in there that are looking for this to pop up from our flag. Now, obviously, 950 and a double top is going to be where we're looking for our price target, but definitely loading up in a very bullish looking pattern with the substance that actually shows that it really kind of is, well, not really kind of is, but really is bullish. So because of those 8 prints, look for a little bit of a pullback coming in, but definitely for shorter term because of that buying that's been coming over that 8 and being off level, showing us a shorter time frame. Next thing, BBIG. So even though it just fell underneath 5, we've been getting, a lot of a mix, and of course we are, because of the fact that it's been in, kind of almost a pinned type consolidation for a lot of the morning. Now we could go back. These prints don't really mean anything because they came in reported late. But the thing about over that 5 levels, we have been getting some really nice off-level prints, also 525, which is the minor prints, coming into this. So we do have the buying that's here for us to be able to get up to this 594 print line, 68,000 shares, excuse me. Now that's a big deal because if you look, there aren't many print lines. These cheaper stocks, there aren't a lot of print lines, especially that come in during the pre-market. Rather, most of them are going to end up coming in towards the the open of the market when we see that, the first start of that big print. So definitely something to look for here, because 730, I mean, that's a pretty big deal in comparison to everything else that we've seen trading in it, and getting those prints at, above the 5 definitely give us the ability to get here. Now, obviously, we're going to have to look for our reaction as we get to that print line and then see if we can get past this congestion based off the prints that come in. CLSN, we already went over. ATTX. So this is another one. We have absolutely beautiful prints that came in at this 3 level. We have a little bit of buying from earlier this morning that came in right underneath the 340. 325 was okay. I mean, I didn't really see anything that was that special. Now, it has the buying to get back up there. Well, it has buying up here for us to look to go back to, but it's really not that great. I'm really more interested in what's happening around this 3. And like I said, we are getting some really nice prints off level that, are pretty decent in comparison. It's just for such a cheap stock, we really haven't gotten that much yet. So it's a lot of it's based off of the pattern that it's in. It definitely showing, the ability for volume to come back, but we just need to see some more buying. It just hasn't really gotten, like I said, those prints that we really need in it in order for it to really get, to start moving. Now, GEVO, G-E-V-O, another one that I like, because we pushed up into that 10. It didn't even entertain the 10 level to come back down. And based off the amount of buying that we've seen coming into this thing, it really shows us that they're just not ready. They're not ready for us to go up to 10 and really show that yet. So that really, makes me look to come back towards that downside. Now, we're in kind of a weird spot because we do have a lot of support that's sitting right here. I mean, it's a little bit past it, but not really. You know, we're still kind of in that congestion area. So we want to see what the reaction here is. And 950 showed, especially once it started pushing up, we showed some really nice ask prints that came in at 950. But then afterwards, we followed up with those bid prints. So it's just too mixed. We need something that's definitive to come into this. There are shares available, so make sure that you go out there and get them. But based off of not even entertaining the 10, it tells me that they're still looking to build. I haven't seen enough volume to show that they're able to really build any type of big position for it to come back down here. So I'm going to be looking to the downside first, especially from those 950 that started off with ask and then came with bid, basically telling us that shorter term move to the downside, and then we're going to be looking to go back towards that upside. This thing has enough buying in it to break 10, let alone to get to 10. So overall, definitely looking down right now in the trade view of it, but then the overall movement, it's definitely going to look to go up there and test that 10 at some point. And then FUBO. So FUBO. It's an interesting one because we have ask prints that were down here at 31, then we pulled back from them and we followed it, fairly well. Then we had our ask prints at 32, pulled back, followed it fairly well, pulled back up, but we didn't really get the 50 cents that we basically should have got. So one of the things I always look for is when a stock is starting to come down, what happens when it comes to some point, whether it be an orb line, whether it be a print line or something of that nature. And you can see right here, I like this burst. 31.67 as we're pulling down into it, definitely showing some type of buying. It's really not that definitive yet just because we haven't really got the prints, but we do have buying at 32 that I do not think was satisfied by only moving up that 38 cents or 40 cents. And then those prints that are coming towards this downside, that print line is going to be very interesting. I'm going to be looking for it to come back up. The only problem is at 32, it has enough buying to get over 50 cents, but it's right on that borderline. So again, it's certainly, there are shares available and it's certainly going to give us a nice trade today. But I do want to see something once again that's just a little bit more definitive, coming into things. We have a few things out there that are just a little bit better and a better setup. Now, yes, I know CLBS just started tanking and now we're kind of pulling up from it, but I am going to put it on our side list. I just don't really know much about it because obviously it happened right at 9 o'clock when we were starting. So I'm going to have to look a little bit more into that. But two other things that I'm not going to put on our list because they should at this point be everyday stocks for everyone, but Riot and Mara. So we can see that they took a little bit of a hit from yesterday. We did have the bid prints that started first on its way back up. We did get buying that showed it need a pullback. So this makes perfect sense. Okay, but coming down into it, you can see prints like this. This is what makes me happy. 1988, I love what we see right there. 20 is mixed. I mean, there's just not enough. But somebody's showing us right here that they're looking shorter term to come in, and obviously the stock is moving down pretty quickly. So 1950 is going to give us, a lot more information. And then Mara, same type of deal. I love setups like this. It's already trading very smooth coming into the pre-market, coming down to that 1650. We already have bid prints at 17, but we do need to see a little bit more. I mean, one print right here is not going to be enough. So going to want to see more prints to show us that we're going to actually be able to break past the 1655 print line. Remember, Mara is another type of stock like we were talking about before, where a bigger print is kind of out of pocket, out of character. So keep that in mind. It's a very, very important level. The information that comes here, the market maker told us they're there. So the information around 1655 is so important to what our game plan is going to be. Okay, as we're coming into it, you can see it's just nothing really special there yet, but keep in mind when something comes up, it holds more weight because of them showing us that the market maker is actually there. So like I said, I'm not going to put those on our list, but definitely something that I would pay close attention to. Now, anything else out there that I missed? I know there's a few other cheap stocks, kind of almost like yesterday, where they're in setups that look like they could do something, but they're not. Even the ones that we have here, they're even less than that. And basically it's just a chart. It just, there's no substance behind them. So we're going to leave those out. Let's get ready for our morning. As always, we have a lot of cheaper stocks, and that, once again, it's funny because the stocks that have bigger ranges, when we have more of those on our list, even if we have a big list, it's kind of easier because there's more room for them to go. When you have a lot of cheap stocks, it does make things a little bit harder. So always take that into mind as you're going in. Really get focused on the ones that you feel have the best potential to be able to do something and go from there. Let's execute as always, guys. Make sure we're putting our dollars and cents in the profits. I will talk to everyone in the chat, and happy trading.